Do these animals deserve the same protections given to other species? Or should they just be left to die?
These creatures were here before us. And if we're not careful, they're gonna be here after. Life cannot be contained.
I feel like I'm supposed to roar at the beginning of the show. Should I roar? No.
Oh, I forgot my Foley.
This is the film board from The Next Reel on rashpixel.fm. We spoil movies, and we all watched a movie with lots of roaring dinosaurs this week as we dip back into that cash cow / money pit. We'll let you decide. Island that we've all explored called Isla Nublar. It's Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom. The kingdom has fallen. Is it the animal kingdom? Is it a metaphor? Does it have a good beat? And can I dance to it? Who's to say? Well, these guys are here to tell us all about it. So let's introduce our hosts. Welcome to the fight, Pete Wright.
The secret is out. I am my own father.
Say hello, Tommy Handsome.
Baby Triceratops for the win!
That's the sound of a baby Triceratops?
Sure.
The strangest roar ever. Okay, what you got, Steve Sarmento?
Poor Hawaii, they got volcanoes erupting, and now we've got this eruption. It's just, it's volcano season all across the world. It's not pretty on either coast.
Volcano season. It's like tornado weather. Or no, earthquake weather. Yeah. It's not a real thing, but yeah, it's out there. These guys that you just heard, they all call me JJ, and we dropped a little Colorado Buffalo Easter egg there for those in the know. But before we get started, be sure to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/thenextreel. If you sign up to support us over there, you can join us and our vibrant movie community on our Discord channel, where we're always discussing the fun foibles of film frivolity. Dang. I can get all the way through that. And there's some deep stuff there, too. So let's talk about Jurassic 5.
I'm so caught up in this. Is it Jurassic 5 or Jurassic World 2? Is it a 5 or a 2?
I don't know.
I'm upset.
I don't know.
Well, if you take the 5 and flip it around, then it becomes a 2.
Oh, there's some crafty design that was they just missed it. Low-hanging fruit.
Well, flip it all around for us, Steve, and tell us what your initial thoughts are.
I was wondering if this actually should have been called Jurassic World Attack of the Clones. We've got cloned dinos, maybe a cloned storyline. But I have to say, it's tough for me to be really critical of this when some of the issues I have were also a frequent complaint against sort of the latest Star Wars trilogy, where looks like we're recycling things, but not exactly. So you guys are gonna have to help me out on this one, because there were a lot of echoes of the prior trilogy and lots of roaring dinos, and I'm saw it earlier today, and I'm still on the fence on this one. So you guys are gonna have to help me know which way to go on this one, because there are a lot of things I enjoyed, but it's still some things I had a lot of issues with.
Cool, non-committal, and I'm interested to see where you sit by the end of this. Yeah. Tommy, what did you think?
Well, if you know me, you know that I love dinosaurs, and I love these dinosaur movies, and by that I mean the first one. But also, I kind of like the first Jurassic World, I guess number 4 if we're talking about 5, or the first if we're talking about 2. With a lot of movies, as listeners to this will know, sometimes I get into a race. It's between me against the movie of how long can I suspend my disbelief until I can just sort of give myself over to the movie. And in this one, unfortunately, I won that race very quickly. I was incredibly disappointed by this movie.
Yeah.
It was so... When it gave me what I wanted, I ate it up and giggled for like twice. Other than that, it was just unfortunately, it was just not a good time. I thought the script was a disaster. I'm just very disappointed.
Well, and there wasn't a happy baby Triceratops until like the last 5 minutes of the movie. So I see why that might have happened for you dinosaur lovers out there.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all I'm connected to. Yeah.
Okay, Pete, what did you think?
Well, I went back and I listened to the last time we did a show about dinosaurs, and I actually now recall Tommy being much more enthusiastic than he is just now. Tommy, I think the movie has
I was
has
much more enthusiastic.
faded.
You're right.
Yes, because I was not enthusiastic about the last movie, and it has aged poorly on me. It dropped a star. A valuable star is now in play to use on some other film. And as a result, I actually like this movie better. My expectations were so low going into this movie that it dramatically exceeded them. Did it by a complete star over the last movie? I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But, B.D. Wong is back, and I just watched Father of the Bride, and I could not help but see him in this movie as, Frank's assistant. And I thought that actually, in my head, maybe that was the movie that was playing out. It was Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom with Frank's assistant in the genetics lab. Maybe that was why I liked it so much. I don't know. Your turn.
I'm really happy to hear that you liked it so much, Pete, because I think it was a really well-made piece of trash. I liked nothing about this movie. I was laughing out loud at ridiculousness through it. It's really, but I start that with well made, because there's nothing bad about the production or, the particular, I didn't find the acting distasteful. The whole concept is just, it's just mired in ridiculousness. I mean, this franchise for me peaked in episode 1, like Tommy was saying, the first movie was so special, and it was such a grand thing to bring out. And now what are they doing?
And we can talk about this in a little bit more detail later, but also this movie does incessant callbacks to the first movie. Yeah. And so, like, Pete, when you said you seem to be a lot more interested in the last movie, that's true, but it's just, I just saw a movie today that reminded me how not as special it was as the first movie over and over and over again. I don't know why you'd want to do callbacks when it's not fresh. It's just interesting. Okay.
Well, and now, did you guys see Lost World and then Jurassic Park 3? You guys saw those, right?
Oh, yeah.
So which one of those two, so this is JP2 and JP3 that we're talking about, it is the one where the dinos make it to the city?
That's JP2.
That's
Lost
2.
World.
Yeah.
So did they feel that this second retooling of the franchise didn't work for a trilogy, so they wanted to make the recall happen quicker?
JJ, I think that is such a great question, and I've been noodling on it all day, and I can't find anybody quoted on that. But to me, that's exactly what this felt like, and I found it really frustrating because I didn't like it then. Like, I really did. And hear me out. You said, Pete, I'm glad you liked this movie so much. Only in that it was a little bit better than the one I didn't like before. So I'm not bullish on this movie in a lot of ways.
Love this movie.
Look,
you love this movie.
Tommy. Look,
it's your favorite movie. I get
this
it.
is what I think. This is the thing that I think is so interesting about this, because all I've heard is that Trevorrow has said that it is the third movie in Jurassic World that is, you'll note, not yet made. That is the movie he's wanted to make from the beginning. And when he learned he got the gig to do Jurassic World, he immediately realized he was going to be playing the long game to find a way to create 2 successful Jurassic World movies that would allow him to make the movie he's always wanted to make, number 3, and that he'd have to earn it and keep people's attention and keep them in the seats. And speaking of the box office, he's done that. He's already working. He's signed, they're sealed, delivered, they're ready to go on this next movie. Great. Good for him.
This opened globally in foreign markets before it came here.
Yes.
I think it's already up to like 425 million.
Yeah, stunning.
Internationally.
I mean, it's stunning.
You can get 100 live dinosaurs for that kind of money.
Right. But I think that's really interesting. And the other parallel that I do feel like we need to bring up is the parallel between the Jurassic World series and the Planet of the Apes, right? We get the whole war for the Planet of the Apes. Like, the apes dinosaurs are going to be carrying guns and riding horses in a little bit.
Yep.
And and I am worried just a little bit about that. So,
well, that's interesting. And I think the reason why I brought up the whole JP2 and JP3 is that, Tommy said that there's incessant callbacks to the first movie. I feel like, and I didn't see those movies all the way through because I don't super care about the franchise. I understand its significance, but there seemed to be I feel like there were specific shots that were more than callbacks to the time when you're getting the dinos on the boat. I mean, there were dock shots that were almost exactly like what you saw in either JP2 or JP3. And I didn't see all those, but it was memorable enough to me to see that this movie seemed like a carbon copy of those.
Can I ask a question, speaking of callbacks? Because all of you are absolutely right. There are lots of callbacks. But then there is one that they played as if it was a callback, and I don't think it is. That is, of course, the story of James Cromwell playing Ben Lockwood.
He's not a thing, right? The Lockwoods haven't been brought up before.
This is the retcon issue of we need another old man in a bed, just like we had in Lost World.
With another Mosquito and Amber.
Yeah, we need to go retcon this whole partner that existed that has never been mentioned before.
Never been. And
who also happens to have a henchman who's also going to do something secretive on the side to sell dinosaurs for lots of money. And it's like, dude, Mr. Lockwood, didn't you see what happened to Hammond? You got to rein this guy in. You saw this happen before. To me, that was way too much.
Hey, Mr. Lockwood, you know what's not that important is your cane. You know what is important? Your cell phone. So don't keep that on the other side of the world while someone slowly walks at you with a pillow in a house filled with people. You'll never need that cane.
That's right. What is he doing with the cane ringing around in a wheelchair? Why does he have that as predominant affectation? It is bizarre. It is almost as crazy as Daniela Pineda playing Zia Rodriguez, the dinosaur veterinarian who, at the start of this movie, had never seen a dinosaur.
Ever. Even though they've been alive.
That's like getting a literature degree and you can't read.
It's exactly what it's like.
And why would they bring her along?
Why would she aspire to be a glorified call center agent? Okay, let me just say, this is the thing that I did like. Bryce Dallas Howard's character, I feel like she is an improvement in this movie over the last. A, she's low-hanging fruit. She's not in the high heels. Great. B, I think that her turn to being this sort of dino activist actually gives her character a little bit more weight in the movie than the operations flack for the big company amusement park in the last movie that I didn't care for that much. So I thought that was an improvement. And the whole setup, being in there, trying to get meetings with senators, I thought that's a charming little way to get us back into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pete, did you know she wasn't wearing high heels because there were at least 5 shots of her boots to make sure we knew she was inappropriate footwear?
No, her introductory hero shot is her shining the toe of her glorious black flat as the camera moves up her body. We open on her shoes.
Shoes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I like that. I'm fine with that. A director leaning into one of the biggest complaints about something. I'm fine with that.
I thought it was great. It's a problem. They fixed it. We're gonna celebrate that. Go for the win.
So now, okay, you say why did she come along? Why did Franklin come along?
Comic relief.
Well, but I mean, no, I get that. But in the story, why did they he hated every moment of it.
Yes. We had a debate about that because I questioned, so she goes off to go get Chris Pratt out in the wilderness or whatever, and then she meets him in the bar, and then she says, whatever, you're on the manifest for the flight. It leaves in the morning. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then she goes to the airport, and then, okay, he slept in the plane, could get there early, fine, whatever. That's humorous. But then I'm like, so where have these other two been? Were they just hanging out in town? They're there in the plane. Why did they make that trip with her? Because I'm not sure where they started when they were in their little campaign, headquarters, but then to fly out to the middle of nowhere and then to fly back to Costa Rica, off the coast of Costa Rica where this island is, seemed like a lot of traveling for them to have to do for no reason whatsoever.
I'm surprised you guys bring that up because I didn't give that even a second thought that they are a part of her team. One of them, they need to make sure the dinosaurs are healthy, and one of them, they need to turn on all the security systems of this old island, and they needed him to plug stuff in.
Yeah, I know why they need to go with her, but I didn't know why they needed to make that whole big trip
Because who
to get on the
else is
plane.
going to say the charming one-liner back to Chris Pratt? We are so incompatible, whatever. That was
Right.
How else
Yeah,
are they
I
going to
know.
do that, Steve? I ask you.
Right. Yeah, I know, because it was really important. Yeah, like so many things in this movie.
So we've been doing those Instagram stories with these movies, and Andy did one, and Steve did one, I did one. And in Andy's Instagram story, he mentioned that he's probably not going to take his kids to this one because he found the movie extremely scary. I did too. As much as I laughed as they were setting me up for scares that I was prepared for, I got super scared. I got scared to the point where the hair on my legs was standing up. Like, why are you doing this to me? It was a bad, scary Halloween haunted house. And there were tons of jump scares in this movie. Is that what this
Are you talking about
franchise
once
is about?
they get to the mansion more? Or...
Well, sure. And then with the dinosaur, everything was a swelling score, setting us up for, either a huge scare or something else. I mean, it's constantly, it's a thriller, isn't it? Isn't that what this movie is?
It's so Trevor, this is another thing he said in an interview, that the first Jurassic World was an action adventure movie. Jurassic World 2 is a horror suspense movie. And Jurassic World 3 is going to be a science thriller more in the vein of Jurassic Park 1. And so technically this is a horror suspense movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's the director they brought in for this one, is got his background in horror
Right.
films. So that makes sense. Yeah, it did have a more, I think, ominous feel to it. Once you just sort of like, let's get through burning down the island and get to the house. And then once we get to the house, yeah, that's where the tension really ratchets up. But it was like we were on a roller coaster through the first, half hour of just how to get the dinos off of the island and set up everything. Felt really, really frenetically paced so that we could get to the house where we start to slow things down a little bit. So I struggled with that I didn't feel like I had got my bearings with everything. To me, it's shortchanged a lot of the characters. That's why we're discussing, who are these two sidekicks and why are they there? I didn't have enough time with them other than, Franklin screams all of the time, like, just this high pitched, shrieking that was wearing me out early on. And I wasn't invested. I didn't have time to buy into them. And then he disappears for a good chunk of the last half of the movie because we've got all these new people to get introduced to.
I agree with the character development that there was very little for me to hang on to with the people other than the incredible chemistry that Howard and Chris Pratt still have. But it seems like an interesting and maybe not a good idea to go from aliens to alien.
Yeah.
Don't you always want to go in the other way? You want to keep breaking it up. But I mean, this way, Jurassic World #1 was aliens. And then the first half of this is sort of dealing a little bit with that. And then it becomes very alien-ish. Isn't that always going to be based in some sort of a takedown, either of emotion or excitement or something?
Yeah.
I don't know, to go from so wide to so, he just moved the dinosaurs into the orphanage. Like, I wasn't very...
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I and you guys know me. I haven't seen the Aliens movies, but I don't think it is singular. It isn't plural to singular in that in the first one you have Indominus Rex. So it's more of, I think, both the aliens and the alien in each case, and they're hacking, they're biohacking the dinosaurs as they go on. And I think that maybe that leads to the scientific thing that Trevor was talking about for the third one here. I don't know. The last thing I want to do is make apologies for this movie right now, because I think, we're talking about them pulling from the old ones. We're talking about them not really doing this. But so why do we make this movie? And if money is the answer, isn't that ironic for what they're talking about in this movie? Like, stop making parks with dinosaurs and all these things because eventually the money is going to corrupt everyone and you're going to be stupid and bring dinosaurs to a house. And we've seen 4 times already that we can't subdue them with light sticks in cages, but we're still going to do it and we're going to put them in a house. I don't know. I just think it's interesting that if the reason to make this movie is more money, right? Because because that's what we do in the entertainment business. We make money through movies. And then the message of this movie is stop doing bad things to make money. I think there's some irony there that we need to talk about.
Well, and I don't get the feeling that they were experiencing this movie as they were making it as quite as meta as you're describing it. I think that, that's one thing that I actually found I appreciate. The dinosaurs in the house. I like the idea that this movie is going to use this giant tableau of dinosaurs, is larger than life. How do you possibly contain such raw power? And we're going to apply this metaphor to the seedy underworld of back alley corporate finance and corporate. This is a takedown of corporations and the criminality that is at the root of corporations that have the kind of money to invest in dino weaponry, right? I mean, that's what this movie is that's what the whole sort of third act of this movie is all about. And they do the runway show, and I thought it was actually like
accessible by the dumbwaiter,
right?
A dumbwaiter that goes into a secret lair for a dino fashion show.
I love more than that, Tommy. I love the sort of Kafkaesque, like, giant train yard throw switch that turns the thing on and off.
So great. That guy has the coolest job ever. Like, and now it's time for number 4. Why would you ever do it that way?
Right. It's just, you do it that way because of the hero shots, the backlit shots of the cages. And so, I totally get the intention behind it. All of the pieces, I get the intention behind it. And then, and this is a problem I had with the first movie too, the hero moments. There are so many damned hero moments in this movie.
You're talking about the first Jurassic World.
Oh, yeah. First
when
Jurassic World.
I'm sorry,
Movie, I'm talking about the Jurassic World, right.
Sure. Got it.
The hero moments, the shots of the crane shots, the cranes going up in the air, the dinosaurs curling their tails around and screaming. There are so many of that. All the way to the point where she shows up at Lockwood's estate in the very beginning. There's a hero crane shot for the mansion that is absurd. The music swells as she's getting out of her stinking car and walking up the stairs. It is absurd.
Purposeless.
How much they love their hero moments, that it actually, I find it desensitizes me to the actual hero moments that we should be experiencing later. One that was exceptional, possibly, I liken this to the element where purple-haired Laura Dern flies the freighter through the Star Destroyer. Remember that?
In Last Jedi?
Last Jedi? Where it all goes silent and the ships rip apart. That is one of my, even in a movie that was not the best, that is one of my favorite Star Wars moments. This movie has one of my very favorite Jurassic moments in all of the movies, which is it's the boat leaving the island and the brachiosaur standing on the pier as the lava comes down behind the smoke, and it rears up. And that is such a callback to the first movie. That animal was the first animal we saw in Welcome to Jurassic Park, as it rears up, and now we see it as it's about to die. And I thought that was a stunningly effective callback in this movie.
I didn't even make that connection. That's right. I found it to be too sad, so I had to stop watching it. Yeah. But yes, that's an incredible connection.
Yeah, I thought it was really lovely. I really did. So, there are things that this movie that are ridiculous, and things you have to, for me, I had to, take it with a grain of salt. I did take my son. My daughter elected not to see it, and my son was in it to win it. Loved every single minute of it. And I think that's probably why I liked it more than you guys, maybe, I saw it with an incredibly enthusiastic, sold out 10 a.m. audience this morning, and they were on for the ride, man. They loved it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but I went with my wife and my youngest daughter, and we had a fairly good time. There was a very excited, maybe he was like 10 or 11 behind me, who was just very vocal throughout the movie. He's talking to himself or to his dad the whole time through the movie of like, oh, and this is going to happen. And then, oh, please let it be this. And it was great to have his enthusiasm, but to me, it just couldn't, I wanted to let that inner child out, but you give me Jeff Goldblum in a congressional hearing, and then he's gone. Right? What is he there to say? Something that we've all heard before. It's adding no new information. He doesn't seem. His passion is gone. He's been arguing this since, for 20 years and nobody ever listens to him. So why is this going to change this time? I felt like his character had no investment in anything that was going on. I don't know why we needed him. I was distracted by Toby Jones' teeth for some reason. And there were so many little things that just kept pulling me out of it. I was like, I want to lose myself in this, but there were so many things. Pete, to the point of the hero shots, it's like, I felt like every 25 minutes there was a shot of like here's a dino rearing up and roaring. And I was like, oh, great. We did it. Now we're going to do it again. And now Blue's going to do it at the top of the house. And it's like the emotional weight that it's a callback to that great final moment in the first Jurassic Park. But when you do it 4 to 5 times, it just dilutes the effect of this. And to me, I'm giving the audience what they want. They want the dinos. They want that. And I appreciate that. But it's a, diminishing returns each time, because for me, the one that I wanted to care the most about was the final fight there with Blue on the rooftop. And I thought, okay, this is the big battle. This is the big climactic fight. This is where I should have that emotional resonance with that callback. And it's been defeated because it's been played out already so many times. They've
already done it so many times. And they'd already done it so many times in the first 2 acts of the film, right? By the time we get to the mansion and they're doing the runway show, every dinosaur gets one of those moments in a cage. It's like you are doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on it at this point.
America's Next Top Dino. Here we go.
Did anybody have a problem with the very opening sequence, the Mosasaurus, which is a very difficult creature for me to watch, but the fact that the sea creature
underwater thing,
yes, the sea creature, I actually I thought it was a good and thrilling opening to the movie. In terms of that, I thought it was really good. The problem I had with it, apart from cementing me never going into the open water again, I already had that locked, is that
because you jump right into like a submarine.
Right.
You go from not floating on the water to underground submarine going to get some sort of a tusk.
And it better be made of glass too. I'd really like that. Look, I feel like that opening sequence gives away the entire beat of the movie, right? That the dinosaurs get out and they never come back to that particular problem. Right. The fact that this giant sea creature just escaped, and has a guy who just finished reading The Meg, I have a problem with that. There's a whole other storyline where that thing actually has its own hero story. It doesn't look good for us.
No, because it's chewing up surfers there at the end, right?
It is. And what business does a creature that size have eating a surfer? You guys, come on. No. Just totally unbelievable.
He could be a fan of the sport.
Well, what business does a T-Rex have biting a ladder hanging down from a helicopter? Like, I get that it makes a great movie poster, but seriously, that is not. There's no reason for that in the rain, in the dark, for a dinosaur to do that. Goodness,
it was to set up the film's unfortunate thing of. I mean, it's so broad to still be doing that, but to have people just continuously go, phew, that was a close one.
Right.
Thank goodness I'm not in a dinosaur's mouth. What?
And because now I am.
Yeah, this film leans into that. Like 4 different people go that way. That seems like a very amateurish way to handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah, pinballing, right? That's jump scares and pinballing. That's what this movie was all about.
The T-Rex was like the Deus Ex Machina. Like, we need something. We'll bring the T-Rex in. We need to create some tension. Have the T-Rex grab the ladder. Oh, our heroes they're in a pinch. Have the T-Rex show up out of nowhere to fight them. Oh, they're getting fought off. they're trying to get off the island and they're in the little hamster ball. Oh, there's a bad dinosaur. Have the T-Rex come in and save the day. And I'm like, is the T-Rex like a dog? I can't, I'm trying to get a sense of like its relationship to these people, because it seems like it's like this loyal dinosaur that's always there to help them out. And it has stopped being this like menacing threat. It's just there to serve story.
The pet that we didn't end up training.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We need to go. We get stuck in a little container. We've got to draw blood from the T-Rex because it's the only predator that's 3-toed predator. It's been captured for the blood transfusion. I'm like, okay. But even then, it seems like they've shot themselves in the foot because they've had to amp everything up by fabricating these new types of genetically engineered dinosaurs that the big bad of the first one, the T-Rex, that was the menacing one,
Indominus Rex.
Yeah, is now just like, he's the Australian Shepherd from down the street. And sometimes he's, friendly, and sometimes he may snarl at you, but, he's not a major threat.
I like that he's learned how to tiptoe, because at the end, when Rafe Spall is in the middle, everyone's dead, and he's just next to a car, and then all of a sudden the T-Rex is like, wink, 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 yonk, out of nowhere. A T-Rex is not sneaking up on anyone. He is God's equivalent of tap shoes. Like, you can see him coming no matter where. Yeah. So,
well, he was actually crossbred with Krampus too, and that's why you see him coming into the bed. Right? That's part of the hybrid.
I thought that sequence was terrific. I thought it was terrific. It was horrifying and spooky and also interesting. I'll let you all slam it before I tell you why I think it's interesting.
Okay,
you may go.
If the new raptor can smell humans from above the roof when they're in their bed, then how come he can't smell it when he's directly over them on top of a statue? Which happens literally 2 minutes before.
I wondered why it was easier for him to, the girl escapes through the dumbwaiter and goes up. And so it's easier for him to, rather than take the stairs or anything, go outside, scale the building to get on top of the roof.
And sniff its way.
But if you're in a large closed room and you're just, 4 feet beneath it, can't smell you.
I think the key part here too is what Tommy talked about in his initial thoughts is this constant battle with running against your suspension of disbelief. And it sounds like, Pete, when you talk about that point in the movie, you were still there, right? And it might have helped with your son being along for the ride.
Oh,
too.
Yeah, he was exhilarated by it. Yeah,
and that's the thing. I mean,
it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
if you can stay in Fantasyland, and I'm not saying that with a negative connotation, even though, I'm saying that for the thing that we like most when we go to movies. If you can get out of yourself and get into the movie and stay with it on this one, it's probably going to be fine. But this one makes it really hard.
I don't think it makes it as I don't think it doesn't make it as hard for me, and that's what I find really interesting is
you love this movie so much.
I love this movie. I'm going to go
it's your favorite
see it
one.
again right now. In fact, I'm at it right now, and people are really annoyed. Look, I think this is the interesting thing, and it goes back to Maisie. She is dinopomorphic. I made up a word.
Yeah.
The fact is that Ben Lockwood actually went and.
It has to be pronounced that way.
Yeah.
Ben Lockwood. Oh, of the Lockwoods? Yeah, you know them. We've been talking about them since the beginning.
Yeah, Ben Lockwood. He actually made Maisie. This is finally, and I didn't even know that this was in the back of my mind, but finally addresses this thing that's been noodling in the back of my mind since we moved past the Crichton original material, that we have a human clone. Why this is ripe for talking about, right, in this particular series. If we can do it with dinosaurs, we're all real stupid as humanity, so we would probably do this. I love that we did that. I also think that one of the reasons that this is how Trevorrow gets out of out from under the mantle of hybrid dinosaurs. I think she has some dinosaur DNA in her.
What?
I know.
What makes you think that?
Because they were positioning her, scurrying through they kept changing positions to the dino cam. When someone's being hunted, they always go to the dinosaur POV. And when they were in the museum, they did it exactly like she was being hunted by like a compy or something else, right? I think that's what the next movie is going to be. I think I know it's ridiculous. So is this movie. You heard it here first.
No, but I think do you remember that one scene in the bedroom when Lockwood called her Indominus Maisie? Did that not really happen? I may have fallen asleep at one point. I would love to see Indominus Maisie. That sounds fine.
I think Maisie's going to sprout
just sort of
some
like
scales.
Gambling in Vegas. Apparently we're going to Vegas.
We are going to Vegas.
Like taking in a show.
That's it. She's going to be just a hit for Cirque du Soleil.
What did you guys think about her? Were you happy with her performance?
This is Isabella Sermon. I thought she was cute.
She was fine.
Yeah.
I wish they would have given her a thing, not just being scrappy. Scrappy young people doesn't mean great, doesn't mean interesting, doesn't mean someone we care about. Right. And so they could have given her some actual, not involving the actual plot. I guess her save the cat was being impish enough to hide from her caretaker, that woman. Right. I guess that was supposed to endear us to her. And instead the caretaker's like, I've seen all of this before.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I think it's a tough balancing act of how to withhold crucial information that you want to, hold off to the side. So you have this big reveal and develop a character so that when she makes that critical decision to release the dinos because of the affinity she has for them, this realization that she has that they are like her. They shouldn't exist, but they do. To me, there should have been some more emotional resonance and weight to that moment that it just didn't earn.
Or even beforehand.
Yeah.
Her being able to have a moment when things calm down and just realizing what she is.
Yeah.
Because she's a dinosaur.
Especially since she's dooming San Francisco to being eaten by dinosaurs.
She's going to be the one eating San Francisco. You see what I'm doing here? I'm continuing to come back to plant
I
this.
think you should.
Dominus Maisie. I love it.
Well, the reason, ultimately, I didn't think any of the acting performances were particularly bad. I thought they were all fine. I like Chris Pratt still. I thought Bryce Dallas Howard was great too. There was nothing really that annoyed me, even though there was so much why the characters were there. I actually liked Justice Smith playing the Franklin, the computer guy. I thought some of his humor was a relief for me when I couldn't figure out why the heck anyone else was doing it. Although the lines they were given were terrible. I mean, like chair and run and chair. Why is a line? Yeah. But I mean,
no, I think everybody did well with what they were given to work with. As there's not a lot to ask. But yeah, there was no cringeworthy moments there. The relationships, because there's not a whole lot of writing around that. There's not a lot expected of them. So to me, it's all about getting to the dino scenes, getting to the chase scenes, getting to the jump scares, all that. And as long as the performances aren't so like wooden or the dialogue isn't so just obvious that it's painful. It's to me, that's what the parts I enjoy of this movie is. It gives me a very surface level story, although there's still things we haven't talked about why you would build a park with a radio tower that requires like the head of the entire organization to go out there and get her hand scanned to like reboot the system. Made no sense. Why her? We had a conversation in the car of like, maybe it was any Jurassic World employee, but she's the only one that could get on the island to do it. So it was her hand scan, but it wasn't clarified of like, we need to scan your hand to get you there. And so we got to put you there to scan the hand. And I thought, even if the park hadn't gone, berserk, I just try to imagine in day-to-day operations of like, oh, the radio tower went down. Hey, you've got to go take a truck way out there to scan your hand so we can reboot the tower.
Right.
I'm like, no.
No, you type in admin.
Yes,
and then
exactly.
sudo for password.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If I can sit with Pete and his son and suspend my disbelief and say, okay, I'll accept that because that's the truth of the world. Yeah, I can have fun with this because it gave me the thrills. It gave me those things. But again, there too much that was too similar. We haven't even talked about like the Great White Hunter again. If we've got to have some guy who's like the bounty hunter who's,
he started off really interesting.
Yeah,
and then he
did.
became so cartoonishly, who cares?
Oh, he
Just
collects their teeth.
When he seemed like he was kind of nice and like kind of cared about him, I was like, okay, so he's going to be wrong because he's wearing a hat and that kind of shirt with too many pockets. In Jurassic World movies, that means you're the bad guy. Got it. Unless you're saying things like clever girl. And then,
well, that's the problem is you've got this. I won't say iconic, but when you've got to measure up to some shoes to fill, and you're going to go back to Lost World and say, oh, I'm going to play the same character that Pete Postlethwaite played. It's like, no, you can't do that because he really made that character and it's a very memorable character. Try to recreate that. No, do something different with it.
And to go back to the fact that he is just a cartoonishly profit hungry when he
Right.
runs back in
Yeah.
to the deathbed going, I want my bonus and my necklace of teeth. You're like, okay, the movie's just got things to do. I get it.
Yeah.
But then to also just immediately go back to weaponizing. It's just so
Yeah.
old.
It's a variation
we're
on a
just
theme.
we're past that.
And unfortunately, this franchise is not. But Pete, I think what you're saying is that this one is already signed up and ready to do a 3rd/6th. Isn't it amazing that we're having this conversation? 1 month removed from seeing Solo, where the performance of Solo in the theater has done so underwhelming. I don't think it's done terribly, but it's so underwhelming that they're considering canceling all the standalone films. And yet this movie that we dislike
was the
so
last
much.
Jurassic World. That's the real problem is I think that they're just drowning the market. And I didn't even see Solo. But I think it was way too quick to come up with a new standalone movie.
But isn't it interesting that it is in fact Colin Trevorrow who is behind Fallen Kingdom and Star Wars Episode 9 and Jurassic Park 3? That's 2018, 2019, 2021.
Yeah.
Wow.
When Hollywood finds their Zack Snyders, they dig in. Carte blanche. Sorry, not this time, Joss Whedon. We want more of a journeyman, I guess. I don't know what. Yeah.
Well, and Pete, you mentioned that this morning your theater was full. My theater was packed too. I saw it Thursday night for not the latest show, but like the 9:00 show. My theater was packed. And not only was the theater that I was watching this in packed, the entire theater was pretty much sold out because of Incredibles 2. Like the parking lot was loaded, and I guess it's summer, right? So we're seeing summer movies, and this is kind of a thing. But I was shocked. I thought seeing it on a Thursday night, I was going to have some room, but this was the theater. It was buzzing. Did you guys have that experience too?
It's summer too. That's a big. I mean, obviously summer. You brought up the movies, but also the kids are out.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and here in Arizona, people want to stay in the air conditioning. So I saw it at 11 o'clock this morning, and it was pretty well full, but it's playing on multiple screens. So there was like the 11 o'clock show, and there was 11:30 in another theater right after it. So there's, we're long past the case of like packed seats wall to wall, except for, I guess, now, when you get to theaters where it's the reserved seating. So where I went, it's still one where you can walk up, buy a ticket, you get there early enough, you can find a seat. Yeah, if I tried to go on to buy, at a theater with reserved seats, all I'm seeing is like the very front row and like outside edges. So people are, here at least, getting out, buying tickets in advance, filling up theaters for this one. Because I think this one... it's dinos. People always show up for dinos. It's the branded name, and people will turn out in numbers for this because it does deliver what they want. It gives them the dinos. It gives them those things, and I think that's what people expect. And looking at the worldwide box office, it's delivering what people want.
Well, and for franchises, it seems like an old friend we haven't seen in a long time. Because of all the Marvel and all of the Star Wars stuff. I mean, it seems like
what, 3 years? Yeah.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that this would make some sort of a big impact makes all the sense in the world to me.
Well, maybe that's the difference that I'm searching for here too, because I mean, with all of our talk about this movie, where it can entertain some, but it didn't entertain us. I think that potentially we're talking about franchise spacing, right? I mean, there's going to be another movie. This is done well enough to do another movie. So, are you guys interested to go see the next one, the third Jurassic World, based on what's here?
Totally. Yeah.
We'll talk more about that. What's the new thing that's going to come to us in another one of these?
I think I've already established it's Mazisaur, and I'm very excited about that. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like when I hear a guy like Trevor who has done some things that I really like, and some things that I haven't, but at least is able to deliver, on the visuals, and give me something to eat my popcorn with, I'm going to give him a chance. And so when he says this third one is the movie that we should show up for, that the other two were just sort of prequels to the movie he's wanted to make all along, I am curious about that. I am genuinely curious about that.
Wait a second. That actually answers one of my earlier questions too, right? Because I asked about JP2 and JP3 if we were skipping ahead to sort of contract or constrict the trilogy. But what you're saying now, if you think about it, maybe Trevorrow, and this is again making way too many apologies for this movie for the way I feel about it, but maybe Trevorrow was most stimulated by where the movie was going to go after those movies in the original trilogy ended. Maybe that's where his creativity resides.
Best case for the third movie is that we're all going to come together and say, "Wow, I can't believe it was as well set up as it was." Like that is a best case outcome for me. That movie actually makes good on the things.
I feel like that's what we were saying after The Last Jedi too.
You're not going to find me taking that bait because I've liked all of those. So
no. So here's the thing. I think that's an interesting point, JJ, because I think what Last Jedi did and what this one does is it's taking the franchise to a point where there is a new story to tell that we have not heard before, because in the prior, it was Jurassic, Lost World, they got out, but, we corralled that, and Jurassic Park 3 was going back to a different island. Here, there's no doubt they are out in the world. They are everywhere, and genie's out of the bottle. It's not getting back in, and there's dinos all over the face of the earth. That's a Jurassic Park story we haven't seen. We are truly at Jurassic World. They're far outside the park. I'm looking forward to that, because that is not a Jurassic story we have seen before. So I am on board for that, because I think he's set things up to take us down that path to get to a point where there is a potentially thrilling new story, unlike any other Jurassic story we've seen before.
And Blue is Caesar, and he has decided, as we see at the end of this movie, to move into the suburbs. And I can't wait to see a comical romp through the suburbs of the Velociraptor family just trying to fit in.
Maisie's like, coffee's ready, and then Blue just knocks everything over and eats someone. And you're like, oh, Blue.
And then
I bet in the new one, I bet in the sequel, they try to weaponize the dinosaurs.
And there's a little baby at the table that says, "Not the mama," right?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
wow.
Well done.
Old reference.
See?
Deep
Very
cuts.
old reference. I
Just
like
trying
it.
to
Here's
stitch
the
the
interesting
tapestry together.
tidbit for those of us who have read the books. Trevor says much of the dialogue, I did not remember this, but much of the dialogue that Goldblum has in the movie was directly pulled from the first Jurassic Park book.
Not surprising.
I thought that was a nice
okay.
twist. It makes me want to go back and read that again.
Yeah, that's great. He pulled it from Crichton's book, but it just didn't work well. It wasn't, if you're going to put that in there, then don't just shoehorn a scene in there, then tie that into everything. But it was a speech to a group of people that made a decision that set events in place, but nothing he said tied into any of the themes or anything strongly with what I felt our main characters were dealing with. I couldn't make that connection.
I think he's just on one side of it, and then the girl Maisie is supposed to put us on the other.
On the other side. And that's the climax of the movie, when she makes the choice to change the world because of who she is. I thought that was actually quite a powerful scene, that it was, in fact, it was, what's her name, who says that, Bryce, who says, look, I'm going to kill all these dinosaurs that I care deeply about, because I know that I have to do that, and that she gets the rug pulled out from under her. I think it was a great twist.
Did you not expect it was going to happen?
Yeah, I expected it, but it was good.
Oh,
it worked.
Okay. So, well, I don't think you can call it a twist if you expected it.
It's still a twist, even if you expect it. Yeah. It's a twist of, it was filmed in a way to take at least some people by surprise.
Yeah.
After she pressed the button, I thought it would have been cool if Chris Pratt would have clicked and then thrown her a piece of meat. Right on Maze, and then,
And then puts a palm of his hand on her nose.
Yeah, exactly. And she sort of goes, "Arr!" and then everything's fine. Yeah.
That was, that's an interesting thing to bring up, because it was the central theme of the last movie of beginning to weaponize the Velociraptors, was the Velociraptors working not only in partnership with man, who, as we know in this movie, is the greatest predator, and working in partnership with one another, right? When the Indominus Rex gathers them up and says, "This is Execute Order 66," and they all turn around and they turn on their thing. I was I was furious at that in the first movie. I thought that was the
Oh.
stupidest thing ever. It was so stupid, and everything else was stupid piled on stupid. And in this movie, they didn't lean in quite so hard to that element of it, to the dinosaurs working together to form a community. And I thought that actually worked for me. I didn't get so caught up in the things that I thought were so stupid in the last movie. So overall, it wasn't a grand improvement for me, but it was an improvement.
It's a variation on a theme. And there may be people out there, there's, $400+ million worth of moviegoers out there that are saying that they liked that variation as well.
If George Lucas was in charge of this franchise, we would go rent old Jurassic Park movies, and Hammond would be like, and then I saw the little flea circles, and I was, look at all the fleas. And then Lockwood said, good job. Like, he'd just start putting in Lockwood in every scene, and you'd see Lockwood like leaning against something or making a bunch of noise in the background.
And you think to yourself, God, was Lockwood always leaning up against that?
Was he
that
always
phone,
there?
That telephone
That's
pole?
what I was telling you. It's
Yeah.
Westworld. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, like Lockwood wasn't holding a gun. There were flashlights the whole time. Like, it's always this going back and like,
He's crossing a
Deep
street in the
cut.
background with flowers and he's
Yeah.
actually walking because then he could walk. It's amazing.
yeah, I don't have a theme because I didn't care for the movie. I can say this. Flick chart, better luck next time. I will still absolutely go see the next movie, Jurassic World 3, especially because it's in Vegas. That sounds like fun to me.
Oh, is
I'm gonna
that
be in.
is that what we were looking at with Blue? Is that
Oh,
Vegas?
yeah. No.
No, Blue
There's a
was
post-credit
the
sequence.
suburbs after the credits. There's a very short one of a bunch of pterodactyl-y ones landing on and looking at the Bellagio.
Yeah, they land on the Paris.
They
the
land
Eiffel
on the Paris.
Tower
They look at the
at
Bellagio
Paris.
and they're like, and they say, Danny Ocean, we're coming for you.
That's
Yeah,
what
no,
they
I ran
say.
away from this movie as soon as the director name came up on the screen. So, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how we rank it then, considering that even though some of us disliked it so greatly, we're still interested in seeing the next movie. Why am I saying we? You guys are still interested in seeing the next one. Anyway, check out www.flickchart.com to try out what we're going to do right here. The site provides a fun way to look at the movies that you've seen by creating a tournament-style stack ranking system that organizes movies of your choice as they duke it out for King of the Movie Mountain. The movies we've talked about on this show can be seen ranked at flickchart.com/TNR Film Board.
We shall begin with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom or The Mummy.
The first one?
Yeah, The Mummy we've talked about on this show, Tom.
You mean the actual historical figure?
When did we do that?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm bad at things. I'm actually going to say The Mummy because that's what it feels like when a franchise you love so much spurns you. I'll be okay.
I think I'm going to say The Mummy too. But I did not like either of these movies.
I'm going to go with Jurassic because there were sequences that were still a lot of fun for me, and I don't have solid memories of The Mummy being that rewarding. So
Yeah. Well, the sequence where the baryonyx comes out of the pipe in the office and the lava is falling and he's lit up, and I thought that was really cool. On that sequence alone, I'm going to say Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Chair!
And so
That's the chair
yes,
sequence.
Yes, it's the chair sequence. And so that puts us at an impasse. Who's going to take
Pete,
it?
you and Tommy do some rock, paper,
All right.
scissors, please.
Me and Tom. Here we go. Are you ready, Tommy?
Ready.
1, 2, 3.
Rock.
Scissors.
I won right away.
Right away. Okay, so
That was
it's
very
The
exciting.
Mummy.
I don't feel great about that win. It seems like I won, but I'm in Waterloo. Like it's not gonna. Okay, go ahead.
Jurassic Park, or for you, General Custer, The Equalizer.
The Equalizer, for sure.
Equalizer, yeah.
Jurassic Fallen Kingdom World.
Dang, I'm Jurassic on this too. I don't have to do it. It's now JJ and Steve.
Wait,
No,
we both said
we both said
Equalizer.
the Equalizer.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yay, we win. Okay, Equalizer wins.
Pete, count me down.
All right.
I'll go with you.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Paper.
Scissors. Okay.
Okay.
That was it.
Jurassic
All
World
right.
wins.
Did the Mummy win again?
How about Jurassic World versus Hail Caesar?
Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar.
Oh yeah, Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar it is. Jurassic World or Divergent?
Was that the first
That's
one?
the first one.
I'll take that. Divergent.
I liked that one.
I
Yeah,
like the
liked
first
that
one too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Jurassic World or Prometheus?
Prometheus.
Both are so annoying in franchises that I like.
I have to go with Jurassic World because there's story problems.
I do too.
Yeah, I still had fun. Prometheus just made me angry.
Rafe is in both, right?
Rafe Spall.
Rafe Spall. Rafe Spall is the guy that's in charge of
Mr. Mills.
knowing new alien creatures and if they are bad. And then he sees one attack one and then he goes up for a kiss.
That's
Yeah.
the
So
worst
dumb.
alien
So dumb.
biologist ever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, little guy who clearly has teeth. What's going on in
Don't
that
worry.
little head?
He was an alien veterinarian.
Yes, he was.
So what did we say? Are we doing Jurassic World?
Yes.
Is that the deal?
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
said, okay. How about Jurassic World or Godzilla 2014?
Ooh.
Godzilla. Wait, Godzilla, the good Godzilla.
The one we've
Yes.
talked about.
The one we've talked about.
I talk about all the Godzillas with
Yes,
all
he
of my
does.
friends. I don't know about you guys.
I did not see Godzilla, so it's going to be up to you guys.
I seem to remember having issues with the end of Godzilla and, good old 2x4, what's his name? Our lead actor in that. Oh, it started off
Who
so
was
good.
the lead actor in that?
Oh, that's, what's his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson Smith.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson Smith.
Oh, but that's the Bryan Cranston. That's
That's the Bryan
That's-
Cranston one,
That's
right?
had that really cool beginning. Okay.
With the
for the first half
parachuting.
of that. Yes. Okay. Yes. We'll do Godzilla 2014.
I am Jurassic Park, so it
And it
is
doesn't matter.
a
Yes.
Godzilla principled loss.
Okay.
Whew, you guys, out of 71 movies, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is now at 51. And I guess, and that puts it right between Godzilla and Prometheus. I cannot believe this, but Thor the Dark World is actually below Prometheus.
Yeah, that one was a mess.
No,
Yeah, it
I
was-
really
it
like
was
the Thor
messy,
movies. You
but-
guys hate the Thor movies.
Yeah,
but I like them all.
hindsight has actually done well for that movie for me. So anyhow,
Yeah.
and Cloud Atlas is above. Oh, crying out
Gross.
loud. Travesty.
Bad taste in my mouth.
If we're to go by the algorithm, Flickchart suggests this should be a 1.5 star.
Not two.
I'll say 2. No, like 2.5. Let's do this, Tom.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2.5.
And I had a 2, so that's 7.
7. And then Pete gave it a 3. So that's 10. Divided by 4, that's 2.5.
And I'm definitely I'm a 3 and a like. Yeah. I had fun. I had fun watching this movie with my son, and I will watch it again with my daughter, and I will enjoy it. And even though I have lots of problems with it that are just silly, it was still lots of cartoon dinosaurs that didn't offend me like the last one did. These were non-offensive.
You won the race.
You won the race.
Right. I won the race.
You won the race, and I lost the race this time.
You did. You lost the race.
So where do we go from here? Next month, we are going to take a break. We're going on hiatus. All the next show is going to take a break. We're going to do July like we were Swedish and do our full holiday for the full month. That's how it works in Sweden. Did you guys know that?
Do we
They
have
take the whole
hygge?
month
Can
of
we?
July
Is
off.
that a Swedish thing, or is that like
It is.
Denmark or something? Hygge?
It
Can we
is.
all hygge? I want to
No,
hygge with
I like
you guys.
that. It's fika.
I don't even know what that
Fika
means.
is what they do. The fika is the coffee break in Swedish,
Oh,
but it's
I
good.
like
So
that.
we're gonna take a hiatus, and then when we come back in August, we decided that we are gonna watch the Happy Time Murders, which I am honestly so excited about. I am not kidding when I said I watched that trailer with puppets and Melissa McCarthy and had the most fun I've ever had in a trailer ever.
I am eager to see if the movie can live up to your trailer experience.
It maybe won't. But that was a great trailer experience, and it's flat out comedy. I think there's a lot of laughs to be had, and I'm excited to see it. And we should say that it is definitely a grown up movie. There will be no debate for us in our episode of the Film Board about whether kids should go to that movie. That's a grown up movie. So Pete,
I was going to bring Pete's kid to it. He seems like fun.
That checks out.
Is that weird?
Yeah, no, he's cool. He's good for it. Don't worry.
See, I've got an 18-year-old, so I lost all parental authority over what she goes to see.
That's
So,
an excellent point.
yeah, she can
excellent
go see
point.
that and be like, hey, guess what I saw? I'll be like, let's not talk about that.
it'll be like the time I took my mom to see the Hot Tub Time Machine 2 on Mother's Day. That was really
What? What were you
unfortunate.
thinking?
Outstanding.
She wanted to see a comedy. There wasn't a whole lot out. It was May.
Man,
Okay.
I
Wow.
think
Super
that may
Got
be
the
worse
idea for
than
me.
any of my infractions.
Yeah, that's wow.
I had taken
It's my
JJ's mom to see Hot Tub Time Machine #1. So that's where he got the idea from.
Thanks, Tom.
Anyhow, you were saying?
Pete, for the main show, what are you guys doing before the hiatus? What else are you
we're just wrapping up our Oceans series. Oceans 13. We just Oceans 13 went live last week, and Oceans 8 goes live this week. If you haven't seen the latest Oceans movie, it drops on Thursday. So have a good time.
Very cool, like a mini film board, because it's a movie that's out in theaters now.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Also, I said this last month, but I want to tell everyone again that we're going to try to be a little bit more agile with the way that we plan our film board content, and we need some more patrons signed up to bring the power to you people. So remember to check out our page at patreon.com/thenextreel and send your friendly film folks there to join the conversation. Elsewhere on the web, you can find out about this show and its sibling shows at thenextreel.com, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at thenextreel. We've become very active with posting content on the Insta or the Gram or the IG. Does anybody know what it's supposed to be called in the slang?
Gram.
I think
Gram. Including what you'll find there is fun movie pics and videos of our own experiences with them, especially when we're going out to film board movies like this today. So thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Say goodnight, Steve Sarmento.
Hondo, everybody.
Get some rest, Pete Wright.
What's wrong with Steve Sarmento?
Wait, maybe we should go back.
Yes. Hondo. It's all that volcanic.
Hondo, everyone. Goodbye.
That volcanic ash got in my throat.
Someone has a pillow over Steve. All he has is his cane.
Get some rest, Pete Wright.
Blue is alive. You raised her.
Talk to you soon, Tommy Handsome.
Dinos will win again. I've heard that the sequel is going to be officially called Dino Town USA, and I am in. And I'll see you all there.
Thank you all so much for listening to us tonight. We love chatting about these films together, but it gets even more fun for us when we can bring it to you. Check out our deep cuts in the feed for movies that you loved, and then join us right back here in August, because at the next reel, when the movie ends, our conversation begins. Till next.